4.6 Savage here to talk about what's going on and little things of what I can do. Today we're going to be talking about the history of Rose, how the name came into play, why the name was chosen, why I even chose Mustang, why I even have an automatic. So we're going to talk about that on my ride home tonight. So, my journey with Rose started when I was 15. That was about 5 years ago now. And I got her around 2015, April 4th, around there. And, I went and picked her up because I felt that I could save it. Now, why did I get a bone stock GT? I have an issue. I don't like buying other people's modded cars. Why is that? Because you're buying other people's problems. I have always been told this. You never buy a car that has problems because it's somebody else's problem. Now, it could be an easy fix. Like, I've definitely wanted to sell Rose a couple times due to the fact of me having a simple issue. Now, why did I get into Mustangs? Well, when I was real young, I never had a want to really get into cars, and I never really cared about cars. Still kind of don't, gonna be honest. I like to go fast, and I'm just good at what I do. But my grandfather worked for Volkswagen for 12 years. I was his gopher for about 10 years. It's going on 11. I learned everything I could and that I know from him. And people may not know this, but Rose is basically me and his project car. At least the base level mods are. The cams, the suspension system that's on it now isn't. But I did just about everything on Rose with him, and I still do. And that's because it's just something to connect us. But that doesn't explain why I got the Mustang. My grandparents said they would buy me a car. Yes, I didn't buy Rose, but at the same time I did. I was homeschooled as a child, so what I got was what we like to call magic money. Basically, I did chores and they added up my money. Well, I never really spent any of it. They kept tally of it and everything. So when it came down to it, I paid for my own car, basically. Now, I may not have handed the cash over, and I may not have earned it through a job, but I earned it through working. Now, I say I didn't. I'm not gonna say I truly bought it because I didn't truly buy it, but I did not buy it at the same time. But what I have, my grandfather was looking one day, and he's owned several Mustangs, both him and my grandmother. They owned a 67 and a 71, and he had a Galaxy XL with a 390 in it. So he's been a performance advocate for a while, a long time. she basically got me into wanting a Mustang. And ever since then, I just fell in love with the SN95 body style. Now, don't get me wrong, I've always wanted a 69. That was what I wanted my project car to be. But the problem was, 69s were all rusted out, and the ones that weren't were way too expensive. So we came across Rose. And when I went to look at Rose, I felt an immediate connection. I really wanted it. It sounded good. You know, there was issues wrong with it, but there was nothing you couldn't fix. Now, the issues were with Rose that we knew about at the time of looking at it were how to hang an idle. Needed new brakes. What else? Had a cracked windshield. Never did fix the windshield, not even before the crash. What else? Had oil pan leak. Had to put a new oil pan gasket on it. What else? I don't know what the fuck that was. But anyway, so we went through, and after I got it home, we went through it and we rebuilt all of it. I picked up Rose for $1,800. List price was $2,000. We worked it down to $18,000. I should have paid around $16,000 to $14,000 for it because that's what it was worth. And looking back on it, I should have. But at the same time, I'm glad I did get it. Now, that being said, why did I have an automatic? Don't get me wrong, I wanted a stick. Always wanted a stick. That's why I was happy when the girlfriend got her car. I was able to finally drive a stick and learn to drive. My mother does not know how to drive stick. So basically, when I was 15, I was told, this was the restrictions I was told. I could not have a two-door. We'll come back to that later. I could not have a stick because she can't drive stick, and if she wanted to take it away or needed to drive home, she couldn't drive it. I was not allowed to have a high horsepower vehicle. But I was allowed to have a project car. So, things happened. We found Rose. My grandmother and my grandfather talked her into letting me have a two-door. So, we picked up Rose. We reworked everything on Rose, and we basically I didn't start modding her till after I got my learner's permit, because I put her down from April 4th when I put tags on it to around August 17th. 2 days later, I got my learner's permit. I learned to drive on Rose. And ever since then, I've fallen in love with her. I'm just more comfortable in Rose than I am in any other car. Now we're going to talk about the name. So, long time ago, back when I first got Rose, I had this friend, or crush you could say, and basically me and her knew our feelings and everything, and I asked her what I should name it. She basically said, name it after me. Well, her name wasn't exactly something you'd name a car after. But her middle name, on the other hand, which I was the only one that called her by this, was Rose. So I thought about it, and I was like, well, what a perfect name. I've always been infatuated with roses. Always. And when I thought of the name, I thought White Rose. I thought the car's white and it combines her name. That's a perfect name. Sure, everybody's like, it's girlish, it's this, it's that, but it has a special meaning to me. So when it comes down to it, basically, it wasn't me who named the car. I came up with the white part, she came up with the rose. And now, with everything that's happened with Rose and Rose 2.0, it's come down to actually being a rose. There was a saying once that I heard, and I've kept it with me ever since I started. You know, I was about 13, and that phrase was, every rose starts out white, even though it turns out red. And the reason that was said to me was, a white rose signifies innocence, purity. A red rose indicates passion, basically trouble, you know, passion. There's another word there, I just can't think of it right now. So if every rose starts out white, that means they're innocent and pure. What happens to make it a red rose? Well, red rose is from the scars of our past, the mistakes we learned from. Now, I know I'm going on a philosophy lesson, but maybe y'all will enjoy this. Maybe I'll start doing vlogs like this. Let's see how it looks. But as far as I'm concerned, it's like every rose can still be white. But at the end of the day, at the end of life, every rose will be red. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. The only reason I saved Rose was because of my connection to her. She was my first car. She was also... This is another reason why I'm so connected to Rose. And not many people know about this. A lot of my issues stem from long-term depression. I have problems where I will sleep days on end. And I just refuse to get out of bed. I refuse to work. That's not saying I don't have a good work ethic. When I work, I work. The problem is getting me to work. I like to overthink a lot of things, and that causes me to cause problems for myself in the long run. I overthink things, and I panic. And I do the same thing with Rose. A lot of people that have helped me build Rose and my mod list and everything, such as SVT Keats and the whole Mustangs of YouTube group, they know I will sit and contemplate something for months on end, and I will panic and I'll think of something stupid and it'll keep me from doing something. And perfect example, like, I didn't purchase the motor mounts for months because I was afraid solid motor mounts would twist my frames. And it was SVT Keats that had to talk me out of not getting them. And I don't regret them a day. Not a day has gone by when I regret them. They're perfect. You don't feel anything different. You know, the 4.6 isn't a high vibration motor. The only thing the solid motor mounts help with is they allow you to feel more in tune with the vehicle. But we'll come back to that. So going back to my depression, Rose helped me through a lot of problems when I was younger. You know, there were a lot of ex-girlfriends, a lot of issues that I had, that really tore me up. And I wouldn't eat, I wouldn't sleep. I wouldn't sleep, or I would sleep, and I would sleep for hours on end. There were some days I wouldn't wake up for 3 days. If I did wake up, I wouldn't eat. I would just wake up, get up, go pee, and go right back to bed. And this was with dealing with school, too. I would stay up till 4 or 5 in the morning, have to be at school at 7. Like I said, I was homeschooled, but I still had to go somewhere to test. And I would go and test, and I would still ace my test because I just knew what I was doing. But I was running off of like a robot. Everything was basically automated. I had no real personality. I didn't want to do anything. I didn't want to socialize. And Rose helped me break that out. That's why I'm so bad at car meets. Look at the car meets I went to without Rose. You don't see me talk to anybody, and if you do see me talk to somebody, I'm very nervous. When I'm with Rose, all my nervousness goes away. And that's because Rose is something I built. Rose is my creation. Lots of people helped, but at the end of the day, I was the one that built this. This is my pride and joy that no one can take away from me. Because at the end of the day, I'm a 19-year-old that built a Mustang from the ground up with his own money. And no one can take that from me because I don't have daddy's money. Now, I've done a lot of stupid things, like falling asleep while driving. I could have saved the White Rose. But I think in the long run, it's made my build better, because without sitting and thinking like that, I wouldn't have been able to get any of this done. Now, I know this has hurt my YouTube channel a lot. And honestly, I'm not going to lie to y'all. I think about quitting a lot. A lot of times I'll go and I'll be like, I really don't want to make a video today. And now that's not saying, the reason I was late these past couple weeks is because I'm starting my new job. I had an issue with my checks, and they couldn't print me my check Friday, so I didn't go to work, and I had to go do side work. I had to do hubs and tie rod ends on a 2006 Grand Prix. And that's a lot of my issue. I stay so busy. By the time I get off on the weekends, I want to relax, But that's why I'm making this video today, and I'm going to drop it tonight when I get home. And I know it's late. I know not a lot of you are going to view it, this late at night. But at least I'm getting my content out there. Now, like I said, changes are happening to Rose. And a lot of things are going to be happening. I'm going to try to get the rest of her painted before winter goes. I may switch doors. I may switch at least my passenger side door. And that's because I don't want to switch the window motor, and I'm lazy and a piece of shit like that. But there's also going to be things happening with the Camry. I know a lot of you don't like the Camry content, and I know what I said before about turboing it, but a lot of the problem is money. I need a daily driver, and I'm not going to be able to spend that much money on it. But my budget on the Camry is $1,500. The sound of these side pipes. That's another thing. In a couple weeks, I'm going to be maybe my next video will be a bunch of exhaust clips, cold start, you know, all that for the YouTube, because I know y'all haven't heard my side pipes yet. I mean, y'all have heard them, but you haven't really heard them outside. Now, a lot of people have been telling me, why do I keep going NA? Honestly, I go NA because it's the cheapest route. I don't have enough time to put my vehicle on the dyno to tune with a supercharger. I know my voice is getting a little hoarse, but I know like ProCharger makes a full bolt-on kit, but honestly, between the bodies and all the work I've put in, I've only put about $5,000 into Rose. And that's including the two bodies. And it wasn't that much. A lot of my parts come from stock vehicles. You know, I got my heads for cheap. I did the PI swap for a little less than $800. The cams were $675. The intake was $4 something. You know, I probably spent maybe $600 now, just with the new stuff that's put on it, and the rims and the tires. But you know, it's a lot of things, but a lot of what I do is I know what parts come off of what vehicles. Just like now, the alternator I'm running is off F-150. You know, a lot of people don't put the thought into junkyard builds, and that's what Rose is. Rose is a Frankenstein. And, you know, she's got heads from a 2001 Bullet. The PI intake on it before, the two PI intakes were both, one was off a Crown Vic and one was off a Grand Marquis. But, you know, I already had the bracket for the alternator for the PI swap. When I did the PI swap, I bent my own heater tube. What else? You know, I just do little things that most people don't think of. Like, I did the steering shaft, and I'm in love with the steering shaft. I also did the motor mounts, love them. Did the solid, excuse me, I did the transmission cross member. The exhaust is mine, you know. I spent $20 on the damn exhaust, and that's because I had some $20 off on AutoZone cards, so my glass packs were almost free. I paid like $15 for the glass packs, and then maybe $30, $40 for the hookups, and that's only because I added the side pipes. But, like, I ported my stock plenum, and I also ported my throttle body. And I did that with a bunch of grinding stones, die grinder, and I cleaned it all up, and I buffed it up, and I polished it. EGR delete, I got that from Lethal Performance for like $30. Wasn't that much. A lot of things. You want an EGR delete, unless you want it to look cleaner, just pull your, unless it's sticking open, pull your vacuum onto it, cap it. That's what I did for years. They wanted like $60, $70 for a new EGR valve. Pulled like 3 of them off at the junkyard. All of them were bad. So I went and I just deleted it. You know, and then a lot of you ask why. Figured I'd do a little poll for y'all. That was about 60 to 110. But what else? You know, you do little things. Cold air intakes. A lot of people wonder why I switched to the engine bay intake. Even though it's it gives me hotter IATs, I've definitely almost hydrolocked my engine several times with fender well mounts. And that's just because they sit so well and so low in the fender well that it causes issues. Well, you turn already. But a lot of my issues are self things. Like, what was an issue I just had? I don't even know. A lot of my bolts were coming out because I didn't put Loctite on them. I know I should have Loctited them and I didn't. You know, always check your bolts. That's because the solid motor mount's shaking so much. I don't have subframe connectors yet either. And I really don't want to get subframe connectors because I'm going to end up getting rid of my side pipes. And I've always wanted side pipes, always. And I was kind of I'm going to be forced to get rid of them if I get subframe connectors because they sit so low. Now, maybe not if I get standard, but most definitely if I get full lengths. And if I get full lengths, I'm definitely going the fit system from Stifler's. Now I'm going to get the whole fit system, the drive shaft loop, all that, if I go that far. But, you know, who knows how far I'm going to go, you know. But, that's going to be all for this video. Remember, be savage, like and subscribe this video, and thank you all for being a subscribing member of 4.6 Savage. I can't thank you enough. I just hit 160 subs. I'm so thankful that y'all have been with me this long, especially to see the ending of Rose. And I mean, it's not the ending, but at least the ending to the rebuild. I'm glad y'all stayed with me and y'all supported me through all that, because I couldn't have done it without y'all. Basically, thank you so much for everything y'all have done and supported me. Like I said, like and subscribe if you haven't already, and be savage.